UF beats LSU at home in the Swamp, makes a major impact on recruiting. And the 5 stars were there, including Jaime Ffrench, who's committed to Texas. UF lands their quarterback for 2025. So we're going to break this all down. Gator fans, smash that subscribe button. All right, Steve, let's get into it. Who do you want to start with? Let's start at Jacksonville Mandarin High School. You can either have Jaime Ffrench or Tramel Jones. Go ahead.
Well, Florida finally completed the flip of 4-star quarterback, Elite 11 finalist Tramel Jones over the weekend. They have their signal caller in the fold in the 2025 cycle. This is obviously DJ Lagway's program, but Tramel Jones going to come in, push that quarterback room, learn under DJ Lagway, and a really nice pickup here for Billy Napier and the Gators, an Elite 11 finalist. He's won a lot of big ball games on the high school level, has a big arm, an accurate passer, smooth release. Really like this pickup for Florida. And obviously he has the moxie to come in there and compete with DJ Lagway and try and help restore this Florida football program back to the heights that they're accustomed to being at. Jaime Ffrench certainly would do that as well. 5-star on-3 industry receiver recruit, committed to the Texas Longhorns. There's been a lot of buzz over the last week or two that he is interested in thinking about staying in-state to play his college football. If he does that, Florida would be the team to keep an eye on. We'll see if he shows up for another big Florida game this Saturday against Ole Miss, but he took his official visit to Florida this weekend. All the returns are coming in strong. He loved watching DJ Lagway play. The opportunity to play with the young quarterback next season is enticing. Billy Napier's done a good job of building a relationship, Coach Gonzalez, and that coaching staff being inside the Swamp. It was absolutely electric on Saturday night as the Gators knock off LSU. And then had great meetings on Sunday. Texas has done a lot to land Ffrench. They beat Ohio State, beat Miami the first time around. Now they have to hold off Florida down the stretch. The Gators are way in it for Jaime Ffrench.
So when Tramel Jones was committed to Florida State, they couldn't get Jaime Ffrench to give him the time of day. But now Jaime Ffrench seems like there's some traction to his teammate being at Florida. Do you think that Tramel Jones committing to Florida kind of gives the Gators maybe a leg up in flipping Jaime Ffrench?
Well, these are guys that were going to do their own thing. Tramel was committed to Florida State for a long time. The Seminoles were not a finalist for Jaime Ffrench the first time around. But recruiting is a game of inches, and you never know how those inches are going to add up. Tramel Jones Jr. committed to Florida. Jaime knows that quarterback room is in great shape with DJ Lagway and now Tramel Jones. So that certainly helps Florida. And then, Josh, you know as well as anybody, you're from the Sunshine State. Jacksonville is Gator country. Absolutely. And there is a lot of Florida pull in that city for those guys to end up at Florida. They now have Tramel in the fold. Can they get Jaime Ffrench? I think it's a strong possibility.
Yeah, seems like the Gators made a major impact, and that's why, Steve, we talk about some of these games, whether they matter in recruiting or not, but I think as the season goes on, the games matter more and more and more, and that win in the Swamp is paying dividends. Now, there's 2 more 5-stars we need to talk about that impacted by this game. We're talking wide receiver Dallas Wilson, who's committed to Oregon, and cornerback Naim Alfred, who is committed to Ohio State.
Josh, I'm going to add a third 5-star to that. Solomon Thomas, interior offensive lineman, committed to the Seminoles, also visited over the weekend. And we talked about how big a game this was going to be. And typically games don't matter for recruiting, but you're a Florida team that's been kind of trying to get out of being mired in mediocrity to even below mediocre. The program gives a vote of confidence to Billy Napier and this staff. The timing of that, not good. They had to go to Texas. They were missing a lot of key players. They get a lot of those key players back, including DJ Lagway for this game against LSU. The Swamp was ready. It was as electric an atmosphere as you're going to find in college football. And Florida had a dominant second half, knocking off a top 25 LSU team. And that environment, that win, shows all the talented prospects on campus that this program is indeed trending up. They have gotten better every year of the Billy Napier era. They've had to navigate some tough injuries this year, but they're still playing hard. And that win that atmosphere, that environment's going to be very memorable. Dallas Wilson liked it so much that he's locked in an official visit for this week for the Ole Miss game. And every week, I feel like when you're talking about recruiting visit primers, Dallas Wilson's going to be there. Dallas Wilson's going to be there. And then the longtime Oregon commit doesn't show. Well, he showed this time. Couldn't have been a better weekend for Florida, again, to showcase their young quarterback, the style of play they want to have. They also had a run game. Jaden Baugh hit that big run to solidify the win late in the fourth quarter. Dallas Wilson coming back. They're emerging as the biggest threat to Oregon to sign him. Miami could get involved with Dallas Wilson, but Florida definitely in the thick of that one. Naim Alfred, I still think is a long shot for Florida. I think there's some interest, and they had a good time. I'm starting to maybe view Oregon as the biggest threat to Ohio State. Auburn certainly in the middle of that one for Naim Alfred. And then Solomon Thomas, LSU and Florida are the biggest threats to Florida State right now. Last week, we still like Solomon Thomas long-term to stick with Florida State, but Florida giving them some things to think about, and he's expected at LSU this weekend. Shea Dixon first to report that, but I'm hearing it on my end as well. So he'll be in Death Valley checking out LSU, and they've always been high on his list as well.
All right, Steve. So with the big win comes some new expert predictions in favor of the Florida Gators. You want to talk about your latest picks on the recruiting prediction machine?
Yeah, 2 new picks for Florida, Josh. Defensive tackle Stephon Shivers. He is a massive point of attack player, at 1 point of verbal to Georgia. Reopened his recruitment. There was some Vanderbilt buzz, but Florida's all in. Like the way that's trending. He may visit Louisville this weekend on an official visit, but Florida giving him a lot to think about. And then Daniel Pierre-Louis, an in-state offensive lineman. He's committed to Florida State, but like Tramel Jones Jr., I ultimately expect him to flip to Florida, and my on-3 RPM reflects that. 4-star defensive lineman Joseph Mbachu was on campus, Josh. He is a former Florida commit. Auburn is my current on-3 RPM. I don't love that pick anymore. Texas, Florida battling for Mbachu down the stretch. Probably more buzz around the Longhorns, but what a weekend for Florida to have him back to campus, and I wouldn't discount the Gators.
All right, Florida fans, talk to us. Comment section below. How are we feeling coming off that LSU win? Recruiting starting to heat up at the right time. Who do you think is going to end up signing with the Florida Gators? Let us know. Comment section below.